Do you ever wish your day wasn't dictated by your health? Are you tired of being tired all the time, or is pain holding you back from enjoying your time with your family? Would you like to manage your symptoms holistically, but you just don't know where to begin? I am so excited you're here. This podcast will help you understand how natural remedies work so you can relieve your symptoms and live a fuller life. My name is Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, past pharmaceutical rep, mom, and wife with a strong faith. And for 25 years, I battled through debilitating Crohn's disease. I took all the medicine and did all the surgeries that stole so much of my time with my family, but never truly healed me. I finally realized if I was going to survive this disease, I needed to open my stubborn eyes to alternative solutions. I researched how perfectly our bodies work with plants and a lifestyle that made my health less of a burden to my family and aligned so beautifully with my faith and my medical training. If you're ready to reclaim your life with holistic options that are easy to implement as a busy mom and provide relief that lasts, this is the podcast for you. Hi there. Welcome to episode 11 of Becoming Natural. I'm your host, Penny Sampler, and today we're diving into a topic that's been gaining a lot of attention lately. Again, actually, fluoride versus non-fluoride keeps going and going and going. Fluoride Skeptics, the hidden truth makes for a safe and healthy life. The fluoridation of our water and teeth and toothpaste has been hotly debated since the 60s, but today we are speaking specifically to an exciting breakthrough in our toothpaste. This is particularly interesting to me as I have battled issues with my teeth and my gums, as I've mentioned before, as a side effect from different medications that I have taken in the past. The rabbit hole I thought I was going down took a hard right turn to an amazing discovery for me that I think might be relevant to many of you as well. So let's dig in. Complete transparency, I'm on my second recording of this. As I was listening through to post it, it was a bit bland because I really wanted to give both views of the fluoride camps. Yes, add fluoride. No, don't add fluoride. Instead of spontaneous conversation, I have to read quite a few statistics and studies and shed light on the subject. So please bear with me. I was truly up until 4 a.m. reading and digging because the direction I thought the information was going to take me was totally wrong. I had the biggest aha in my understanding of the fluoride debate, despite having been using my new toothpaste for almost a year now. I think it might surprise you as well. So please know that I do pour my heart into these podcasts and really take the time to get the information right, which lends itself to long hours of researching that I absolutely love. My poor husband, I guess you could call me a starving artist at this point. I keep telling him my ROI is unrealized yet, but big things are coming for my hours of work, right? With that, if you are liking Becoming Natural, it feels so good to get reviews because I read every single one of them. If you don't mind taking a moment to write a review, it means the world to me. And I read all of them, and I've actually crossed the 50 review line. It's so wonderful. That was a goal of mine, and now my goal is to hit 100 reviews. So then I can show my husband my long hours are actually making a difference in someone's life, right? So he's very good at humoring me. My last fun point, really quick, is that I'm getting very, very close to launching my updated website, and I can't wait. If you want to be in the know, please go to the show notes and subscribe to my email. When the website is ready, I plan to do a big virtual launch of the website, official launch of the podcast, and lots of giveaways and fun stuff surrounding my book. Lots of fun. Very exciting. So emails are the best way for me to keep in touch. Thank you so much, if you're listening right now, for being a part of my OGs, my original gangsters that are with me from the very beginning, because I really haven't done a formal launch of this podcast. So you really are the beginners, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much for anyone who is not my mother that still listens to me on a regular basis. So, all right, let's go. So if you have ever stood in front of the toothpaste aisle at your grocery store, you've probably noticed a range of options, with fluoride being the most common ingredient in toothpaste. But recently, people are in the camp of not using fluoride, and others are vehemently pro-fluoride. And if you're in the I have no idea camp, where I was for a very long time, What is a good alternative? What should you do in the meantime while you're learning? And you may be wondering, what's the difference? And more importantly, why should I care? In this episode, we're going to explore the pros and cons of fluoride and what other options just might be even better for your oral health compared to traditional fluoride toothpaste. When I say I didn't ask questions about medicine, growing up, all the things, this is a great one. But who actually told us fluoride was the necessary cure for our teeth? Well, let me tell you. Fluoride research had its beginnings in 1901 when a new dental school graduate named Frederick McKay moved from the East Coast to open a dental practice in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And when he arrived to Colorado Springs, he noticed everyone had terrible brown spots on their teeth. It ended up being a 30-year quest for him, but he studied the populations of people around that area that had brown spots and then other areas where nobody had brown spots. And it was eventually connected to the water supply. It wasn't until 1931 that it was finally discovered to be related to high fluoride concentrations. And in 1945, Grand Rapids, Michigan became the first city in the world to add fluoride to its drinking water to determine if it would help reduce decay of teeth over time. Over the next 11 years, the incidence of decay in children born after adding fluoride to their water reduced by 60%. It's actually an interesting history, so let's dive in. I still remember my mom telling me that part of Dallas that I grew up in refused to allow fluoride to be added to our city water when the city as a whole added fluoride to their water supply in the 60s. I didn't understand why they added it or why it was refused, but I never really cared to ask questions, to be honest, until recently. Fluoridation or no fluoridation? Or is there something else that's more effective? I started this past podcast for questions just like this. I'm a mom and I have Crohn's, and I'm realizing in hindsight that I should have asked more questions along the way as I battled through my own major health issues. I also realize and have a little bit of guilt that I never asked questions about medical treatment for my children unless I learned via my own lessons and my own experiences. I just trusted the system. But I think we're all waking up a little bit to the fact that maybe our medical system might be broken in some places. I've heard the testimonies of many doctors and friends who are doctors who simply want to practice medicine and help people feel better, but their hands are tied by their corporate employer or insurance companies by what they can and can't do for their patients. As a drug rep, I witnessed this every day, and that was 20 years ago. But again, that was 20 years ago, and it was going on then too. My company gave bonuses to doctors who wrote more scripts of our drug. I never thought anything of it because I had a great drug, or so I thought. But my husband always said how irritated he would get sitting in the waiting room, waiting to see a doctor and watching the drug reps come and go with food or gifts. Not only did they come and go while he sat there waiting, but also knowing full well that the doctor was not necessarily writing with the best treatment for him, but the drug of the last drug rep that was walking through his door. It made me so mad. I was so trusting. This was my livelihood, but he wasn't really that far off. Why did we have so many drug reps back then if we weren't making a difference influencing doctors' prescribing habits? So who is to say that if the pharma industry affected doctors' prescribing habits based not on putting the patient first, but marketing, relationships with drug reps, and or bonus potential, that the broader health industry didn't have potentially unwanted exterior forces as well? Should we trust the pills, the creams, inhalers, skincare products, anything sold on the pharmacy floor any more than we trust the ingredients in pharmaceuticals that cause an endless list of potentially harmful side effects? I am no pro at reading ingredients, but I have read enough to know the answer to that question is a resounding no. As I research and dive into all the things, I can get super nerdy. But what really matters here on Becoming Natural is how does it affect you and your family? As moms, we're typically the primary shoppers in our family. So what we buy determines many outcomes in the people that we love the most, including the toothpaste that we choose. So which toothpaste should we get? When my dentist asked me if I wanted to put additional fluoride on my kids' teeth at their regular office visits. Not only did I say yes, I asked if they would do it for me too. So every visit for years, and as I have aged, I have been told more than once that I have weak enamel. After long-term antibiotics in high school for prophylactic skincare by my dermatologist, that means preventative. I didn't have acne, I just had a few breakouts here and there, but it was made clear to me years later by my dentists that my teeth are not truly opaque white. And when I looked closer, I realized that they are somewhat of a clear gray. I never realized this until I changed dentists twice when moving cities, and they both asked me if I ever took tetracycline as a child. That's an antibiotic. Yes, actually. And I have since also connected the dots previously to the use of tetracycline to Crohn's disease. One study states several tetracycline antibiotics named doxycycline and minocycline have shown a link to IBD, particularly Crohn's disease. I took them both. I never had the acne. I had the breakouts, but it was all preventative. So it seems that for my body, tetracycline is the gift that keeps on giving. Clear gray teeth and Crohn's disease. That doesn't count the years of illness and pain, additional meds, surgeries, missed life, and multitudes of side effects that came from Crohn's disease. Tetracycline, a broad-spectrum antibiotic, can cause several significant effects on teeth. The primary impact is tooth discoloration and enamel hypoplasia, or underdeveloped enamel. Ding, 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 there's the weak enamel. This occurs because tetracyclines bind to calcium ions in the developing teeth and bones, forming a complex that integrates into the dentin and the enamel, resulting in a yellow, brown, or gray discoloration. Over time, the staining can become more pronounced and it may be permanent. So basically, the tetracycline leaches the calcium and other minerals from the teeth, and in my case, making my teeth more kind of transparent. So while this is the case for me and tetracycline, and why I have always been acutely aware of my teeth and oral care, what does fluoride have to do with it, and how does this affect you? Fluoride is a naturally occurring mineral that plays a critical role in maintaining oral health by strengthening teeth and preventing cavities. Research tells us that fluoride benefits your teeth in 5 ways, and each one leads to the next. So first, it strengthens your enamel. The enamel is the outer hard layer of your teeth that protects them from decay. Fluoride helps to remineralize weakened enamel, making it more resistant to the acid attacks from plaque, bacteria, and sugars. It prevents tooth decay. Fluoride reduces the ability of harmful bacteria in the mouth to produce acid, which is a primary cause of tooth decay. By lowering acid production, it helps to prevent cavities from forming. It also reverses early decay. In the early stages of tooth decay, fluoride can help to repair minor damage by promoting the remineralization process. This can stop the decay from progressing into a full-blown cavity. It also inhibits bacterial growth. Fluoride can stop the growth of bacteria in the mouth, reducing the overall levels of harmful bacteria that lead to plaque and gum disease. And finally, it supports children's dental development. For kiddos, fluoride is especially important during the development of your permanent teeth. It helps ensure that teeth develop stronger and are less susceptible to decay over their lifetime. So there's 4 ways that we can get fluoride into our bodies. First, water fluoridation. And that is the great debate of adding fluoride to the community tap water, to our community water resources. An entirely separate podcast with a whole lot of controversy surrounding just water alone. We may or may not dive into that someday. Toothpaste is another way we can get fluoride added to our toothpaste, obviously, and mouth rinses, all the things that contain fluoride. We can get it from professional treatments in our dental office, getting fluoride varnishes and gels. And we can have dietary supplements for those in areas that don't have good concentrations of fluoride in their water. There are risks associated with too much fluoride, however. As it was discovered, excessive fluoride, especially during childhood, can lead to dental fluorosis, which causes white or brown spots or streaks on the teeth. This is generally a cosmetic issue and does not affect the function of the teeth. Some say excess of fluoride causes brittle teeth or bones, increasing the risk of bone fracture and bone cancer. Extreme excess can cause neurological disease, and it may interfere with thyroid function as well as other biological systems. Synthetic forms of fluoride are also used in much higher doses in rat poison. Yep, rat poison. So the key to fluoride, the pro-fluoride camp says, is simply in the dosage. If you keep the dosing at a safe level, there should be no risk to adding fluoride to our bodies. So, with absolutely zero research and nothing to back it up, I started using a random non-fluoride toothpaste about 15 years ago because I was trying to, get healthy. At one of my dental visits, my hygienist asked if I was using fluoride-free toothpaste, and I admitted that I was. And she said, "Your teeth are getting really soft, Penny. You really need fluoride in your toothpaste." It scared me enough that I went right back to my regular fluoride-rich toothpaste, not knowing why the fluoride-free toothpaste didn't do the job. But what I've learned since is that the non-fluoride toothpaste didn't do the job because it didn't have the minerals in it. Fluoride in its natural, organic, God-made form is considered a trace mineral. The toothpaste was made of all sorts of great ingredients that were natural, but there was nothing mineralizing about it at all. The minerals are the key ingredient in what our teeth need for good health, and our toothpastes give us fluoride, an important mineral to remineralize our teeth. Remineralization is the process of replacing lost minerals in the enamel, the hard outer layer of our teeth, which can be damaged by acids from plaque and bacteria and excess sugar. Unlike bone, tooth enamel is not a living tissue. It cannot regenerate once it's lost, but it can remineralize on the surface. So fluoride, calcium, and phosphate from saliva or treatments like fluoride toothpaste or varnish, they help remineralize enamel by filling microscopic demineralized areas and making enamel more resistant to the future attacks from more acid in our mouths. While remineralization can repair early enamel damage and prevent cavities, it cannot restore enamel once it's entirely lost. So it is definitely something that you want to use on the front side. It won't work if you have completely lost your enamel. So the use of fluoride at our doctor's offices, in our toothpaste, and in our water supply can be either naturally occurring fluoride or synthetically produced fluoride. But the research claims both forms ultimately provide the same fluoride ions that help prevent tooth decay. Naturally occurring fluoride can be found in groundwater and natural springs from rocks and soil. Synthetic fluoride compounds were created for use in areas where natural fluoride levels were too low. It was created in a lab. Water fluoridation programs use synthetic fluoride to adjust fluoride to the optimal level, which is typically 0.7 parts per million in the United States. So I did a little research on the gels and varnishes used in the dental office that we slathered on our teeth for years. They are both designed to prevent tooth decay by strengthening tooth enamel and making it more resistant to acid. Makes sense. Fluoride varnish is a highly concentrated fluoride solution that is painted onto the teeth and adheres well to the enamel. So they paint it on with a little brush. I've actually had that. That's what I used to get. And the active ingredients in that varnish are several forms of fluoride, the resins and carriers, because they make it sticky, so it makes it stick to the teeth, and flavoring agents that, make it taste better, sweeteners, and solvents. Solvents help in easy application and making it dry faster. So an example of a solvent would be ethyl acetate. Ethyl acetate is used primarily because it's cheap and it claims to be low toxicity. It is commonly used to clean circuit boards and in some nail varnish removers. Coffee beans and tea leaves are actually decaffeinated with this solvent. It's also used in paints as an activator or a hardener. Ethyl acetate is an asphyxiant for use in insect collecting, for all you insect collectors out there. In a killing jar charged with ethyl acetate, if you know how to do that, the vapors will actually kill the insect quickly without destroying it. However, ethyl acetate is regarded as potentially doing damage to the insect DNA. So I would say this is where my mom hackles go up. Yes, something such as ethyl acetate is used to decaffeinate tea and coffee beans and probably many other things that we have no idea. But is it really okay to be using ethyl acetate when it's used to asphyxiate insects and possibly doing damage to insect DNA? I want to learn what not to put in my body. And things with a danger level that is used to kill bugs or rats is really popping my radar a little bit. So, fluoride gels next, after the varnishes, are thicker than the varnishes, and they're often applied in dental trays where a patient bites into, where you allow the gel to coat the teeth evenly. Again, their active ingredients are a few forms of fluorides. Other ingredients are thickening agents. And, just an example of a thickening agent would be hydroxyapatite. And it makes it to where it's a gel-like consistency. It's a thickener that is used in common beauty products, and it's made by using 1,4-dioxane, a substance known to potentially contribute to some cancers. While the processes used to purify and remove all the 1,4-dioxane have improved, it still could cause cancer and is still a source of controversy. Once again, if there's this high risk or potential risk of something bad, aren't these the substances we want to eliminate? I don't know. I'm just a mom. So both fluoride varnishes and gels are considered safe and effective by the organizations such as the American Dental Association, the CDC, and the WHO, when appropriately used to prevent cavities and remineralize early tooth decay. So if you trust those organizations then you're golden. What I've learned in my increasing use of the word why is that I really don't trust any agency that says it is looking out for me when they can be lobbied, influenced, and be the influencer, much like pharmaceutical companies, as a profit center. I wish I was the old Penny who trusted everyone was looking out for me. It was a much less stressful life. I had fewer decisions to make. So I wanted to know what the guidelines were for the use of these particular ingredients that sound a little bit harmful in other countries. For whatever reason, our regulations in the U.S. are less stringent as those in other countries. Fluoride treatments, including water fluoridation and fluoride varnishes or gels, have faced scrutiny in several countries due to concerns over health impacts and the potential presence of contaminants. These concerns primarily focus on the chemical compounds used in fluoridation, such as hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is a byproduct of the fertilizer industry. Yay! And may contain trace contaminants like arsenic, lead, and radium, all right there to absorb in our mouth. However, studies suggest that these contaminants are present in amounts well below our safety thresholds. So who the heck determines safety thresholds? That's the question. It's the safety thresholds that are debated. So back in 1986, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, based on evidence at the time, established 4 parts per million as the maximum contaminant level goal for fluoride in our water. Of note, if you remember, when uncovering that excessive fluoride was the root of the brown spots on people's teeth in the 1930s, it was determined at that time that fluoride levels of up to 1 part per million in drinking water was the maximum contaminant level. So we have a little bit of a discrepancy there between 4 now and 1 then. These days, dentists do report seeing more teeth with the hallmark white stains of fluorosis in areas where fluoride is added to water. In fact, one of my sons has a white spot, and we have always been told it's a calcium deposit. While it is only a cosmetic problem, nevertheless, it's a problem. And why is it happening? When fluoride is added to drinking water to prevent cavities, it is added to bring the final concentration to between 0.7 and 1.2 parts per million, which is not anywhere close to the 4 parts per million max. But due to the widespread use of fluoride toothpaste and mouthwashes and rinses and processed foods and beverages made with fluoridated water, never thought about that, some segments of the population may be exposed to more than the optimal amount of fluoride. It is now about the accumulation of fluoride, and it begs the question if we still need to be adding fluoride to our water with the improvement of oral care products. It is also clear that because of these sources of fluoride, as well as to earlier and better dental care, the gap in the incidence of cavities between water with fluoride added to it and water where it isn't has actually closed quite a bit. Sweden, Norway, and Austria have banned or restricted water fluoridation, citing insufficient evidence of significant benefits over the use of fluoride toothpaste and concerns over potential health risks. Germany and the Netherlands have opted not to fluoridate their water, preferring alternative methods to improve dental health. The main reason for that is the fundamental position of the drinking water sector is that it is not their task to deliver medicinal treatment to people. This is the sole responsibility of health services, not the water sector. The broader European stance remained the same throughout the countries. Why force medicate an entire population for the benefit of a few? That forced medication is an angle I hadn't thought of, and it does seem a little bit concerning to me. At present, 97% of the Western European population drinks non-fluoridated water. This includes Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Northern Ireland, Norway, Portugal, Scotland, Sweden, Switzerland, and approximately 90% of both the United Kingdom and Spain. Despite foregoing, quote, one of the top 10 public health achievements of the 20th century, end quote, tooth decay rates have declined in Europe at the same rate over the past 50 years as they have in the United States. This raises serious questions about the CDC's assertion that the decline of tooth decay in the United States since the 50s is largely attributable to water fluoridation. Despite these concerns, organizations like the WHO and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, continue to endorse fluoride treatments as safe and effective measure for reducing dental cavities, provided they are used at appropriate levels. The ongoing debate certainly highlights the need for more current research to address concerns related to long-term exposure, accumulation from multiple sources, and if the need as an additive still exists, and an individual's unique sensitivity to fluoride. There are so many factors that can affect the need for fluoride. My dentist made it clear that I needed something to help with the hardening of my tooth enamel, and it could simply be because I have an inflammatory bowel disease causing difficulties in my body absorbing nutrients for not only years, but also having removed significant amounts of my stomach and intestine that were responsible for absorbing specific nutrients. Given the dramatic difference of opinions between European countries and the U.S., I kept digging for a more natural solution. One option I found was getting fluoride in its original God-made form as a trace mineral, not synthetic, but naturally occurring. I found many benefits with taking trace minerals in the past, so maybe it would be relevant to the health of my teeth. The term trace minerals refers to a group of essential minerals that the human body needs in very small amounts to support various processes. These minerals include elements like zinc, iron, iodine, manganese, copper, fluoride, chromium, selenium, and cobalt. They play critical roles in everything from enzyme function to immune support and several other metabolic processes that are necessary in our bodies. These minerals are vital to health, but they are needed in a much smaller quantity compared to macro minerals like calcium or magnesium. Trace minerals are typically acquired through a balanced diet with rich sources including meats, seafood, whole grains, nuts, and seeds. They are found in varying concentrations depending on your environment. So seawater typically contains higher levels of iodine and fluoride, while soils and rocks are rich in elements like zinc, iron, copper. Where my eyes started to open was discovering that while fluoride works by helping to remineralize our teeth in a way, it doesn't deliver the same broad spectrum of minerals that your teeth actually need. Mineralizing toothpaste, on the other hand, works like a supercharger for your enamel, delivering not fluoride, but calcium and phosphate ions directly to the areas of your teeth that need repair. Since the enamel doesn't regenerate on its own, it is dependent upon these minerals for repair. What's interesting about mineralizing toothpaste is that it uses the natural process of remineralization, but with a more holistic approach. While fluoride has been proven to prevent cavities and remineralize our teeth, there are obvious concerns around its long-term use. But mineralizing toothpaste aims to work more gently and naturally without some of those long-term concerns. By the way, did you know that products containing fluoride must contain a warning label? The reason we have kids' toothpaste is because we don't want them to swallow fluoride because it isn't safe. So most toothpaste made for children do not have fluoride in them. We don't want them to swallow fluoride. So let's get to the science behind the mineralization. Let's take a deeper dive into how remineralization actually works. When your teeth are exposed to acids, whether from food, drinks, or even just natural bacterial activity in your mouth, this causes demineralization. Demineralization is when minerals, primarily calcium and phosphate, are lost from the enamel. This weakens your teeth and can lead to cavities over time. So, mineralizing toothpaste essentially aids in reversing that process. It delivers calcium and phosphate directly to your enamel, helping it to restore the lost minerals. This process can help rebuild enamel, strengthen it, and make it more resistant to future acid attacks. It's like giving your teeth a dose of the building blocks that they need to stay strong. And while fluoride also helps to remineralize teeth, its action is somewhat different. Fluoride works by attracting calcium and phosphate to the enamel, but some studies suggest that the remineralization process with fluoride doesn't result in the same quality of enamel restoration as it does with the minerals found in mineralizing toothpaste. Interesting, isn't it? So with this knowledge, what reasons would you choose mineralizing toothpaste over fluoride toothpaste? Number 1, remineralization of early caries. Caries is spelled C-A-R-I-E-S, and that actually means decay. So remineralization of early decay. It helps reverse early stage tooth decay by repairing enamel before cavities fully develop. It reduces tooth sensitivity for those of you with sensitive teeth. It helps with plaque inhibition. It forms a protective coating that inhibits bacterial adhesion to your teeth, which reduces plaque formation and the risk of decay. And safety. It is safe for long-term use. It is non-toxic. It is free from fluoride, making it a really good option for those who prefer fluoride-free oral care that is safe to accidentally or possibly ingest for perhaps people like children or elderly that can't always spit it out. So what is the common denominator in mineralizing toothpastes? Hydroxyapatite. Have you ever heard of that before? I hadn't. Hydroxyapatite is a naturally occurring mineral that makes up 97% of our tooth enamel and has been scientifically proven to strengthen and protect your teeth without fluoride. While hydroxyapatite is less known in the U.S., it has been the gold standard for naturally effective oral care in Japan for over 40 years. We extract hydroxyapatite from natural sources, including mammals, marine and shell sources, plants, algae, and from mineral sources. As the main component of tooth enamel, research shows that hydroxyapatite chemically binds to your teeth. Studies show that hydroxyapatite acts as a filler, capable of repairing small holes and depressions on the enamel surface, while also naturally whitening your teeth. And because hydroxyapatite is a naturally occurring mineral in our teeth and bones, it is completely harmless if it is accidentally ingested. Aha! So, in a search that I thought would result in finding the necessity of using naturally occurring fluoride versus synthetic fluoride, I discovered an entirely different and more effective solution to fluoride in hydroxyapatite. Who knew? History tells us the great debate is to fluoride or not to fluoride. However, using hydroxyapatite, calcium and phosphate is injected into our enamel, actually improving the quality of enamel and remineralization beyond fluoride's potential. It's amazing. I have been using a steady rotation of mineralizing toothpaste for about a year now, and I can see a difference. It takes time, yes, especially if you're recouping from the grayish clear state that my teeth were in, but I can definitely see improvement in the opacity of my teeth. Aesthetically, my teeth are getting more opaque and white, but also my gum health is improving with less bleeding when I floss as well. I firmly believe that not only does the addition of that hydroxyapatite make a difference, but also eliminating commercial toothpaste with harmful SLS and other irritating or inflammatory ingredients as well. I was told to rotate with a couple different mineral toothpastes at a time. I'm not positive why, but I think just to keep the rotation going is really good. So I rotate through 2 to 3 mineralizing toothpastes on any given day, and each of them stand by no added fluoride, so it's safe enough to eat, no harsh foaming agents like SLS. SLS, if you don't know, is sodium lauryl sulfate. It's what makes our toothpaste get foamy, our shampoo get foamy, anything that causes foam. Soap, that's really, really bad for us. So there is no SLS in any of these products. No propylene glycol. If you know what that is antifreeze. And we have many products that have antifreeze in it because it's a sweet taste. And that provides a sweet flavor that we don't want. No mystery, quote, natural flavors are hidden in any of these products. They are fully transparent. And they all have hydroxyapatite to remineralize our teeth. I will link each brand in the show notes, including there are a couple brands that have hydroxyapatite mints in order to get additional minerals outside of brushing your teeth, which I absolutely love. The first brand that I discovered and love is called Rise Well. It's made with essential oils like peppermint and tea tree and extracts like cinnamon and echinacea that not only freshen breath, but also have been shown to reduce inflammation and fight bacteria. Another brand called Boca, it's unique because it contains baking soda to also gently whiten your teeth in addition to the hydroxyapatite. One of my very favorites is Peribiotic Silver. And I know you can already tell why I love it because it has silver in it. But many people now know that we need probiotics for our gut health. But did you know that we also need probiotics for our oral health? Our GI system is all connected from entry to exit, but when we take our probiotics, they break down in the gut, bypassing our mouths. By using probiotics in our toothpaste, we're actually supporting a healthy microbiome in our mouths as well, which we definitely need, and I never thought about that before. But Peribiotic Silver toothpaste has probiotics, it has CoQ10 and purified silver for healthy gums, and the probiotic toothpaste can support oral microbiome balance. This also uses a replacement to the harmful foaming ingredient SLS, as mentioned above, that is sourced from coconuts instead of a traditional sulfate for foaming and cleansing. So you get the best of both worlds, a non-gritty foaming toothpaste and a gentle, healthy formula. Finally, the last suggestion I would make is David's toothpaste. One product by David's that I think highlights how unique they are. They have a product that's made with charcoal, and it combines activated charcoal for deeper cleaning and stain removal. So, to tie a bow on the great fluoride debate, I am leaning towards fluoride actually being a non-contender, a non-issue. What we should be diving into is remineralizing our teeth with the hydroxyapatite for a broad spectrum hit, long-term safety, and natural ingredients with an even better outcome than fluoride offers. I hope I was able to make this less dull the second time around and more interesting. I know I was amazed by the discovery of the lesser-known hydroxyapatite when all I have ever been taught is you need more fluoride, more fluoride. One more example of always keeping an open mind, discovering new things, or yet again, discovering old things that are actually new to us. So don't forget, all the toothpaste that I mentioned above and the mints are going to be linked in the show notes for you so you can run out and get them as fast as you can, and hopefully with Black Friday deals. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you learned something. And don't forget, if you have a moment, to write a review. I would totally appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next week. If you're interested in checking out our anthology devotional, look for the link in the show notes. More Than Enough, The Silent Struggle of a Woman's Identity, is divided into 6 sections. More than your past, more than your religion, more than your body, more than your job, more than a wife, and more than a mom. It was awarded the Barnes & Noble bestseller designation in just 5 days of pre-launch. It ranked number 1 in the religion category, number 40 bestseller out of all pre-orders at Barnes & Noble, and each author received a Barnes & Noble best-selling author designation. You don't want to miss it. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you take 30 seconds to leave a review and share it with a friend? It helps me help someone else, and reviews are the best way to do that. Thank you so much for your support, and I'll meet you back here for another episode next week.